All right, we are back with day 4 of our ACT prep in Unit 2, Pre-Algebra 2 topics. Today we're going to talk about mean, median, and mode. So mean, median, and mode help describe sets of data. The mean is the sum of the items divided by the number of items. The median is the middle term, or if there's an even number of items, the average of the two middle terms in a set of items arranged in order. This is very important for median. You have to line them up from smallest to biggest before you can find the middle term. The mode is the item that occurs most often. So an example of mean, it says find the mean of these scores. And what you do is you add all the items up. They got 504. And then you divide that by how many items are in the data. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 9 numbers, so divide by 9 is 56. Now, you got to be careful on the calculator. If you're going to type this all at once, you have two choices. The first choice is to type it all in, plus 78, plus 62, plus 19, plus 71, plus 53, plus 86, plus 23, plus 78. Hit enter, and then hit divide by 9. Okay? That will give you the right answer. If you're going to type it all at once, if you type it like this and then just divide by 9 at the end, the calculator is going to do this division. It's going to divide 78 by 9 and then add all the rest of those numbers. So if you want to type it all at once like this, you have to put those in parentheses so that it adds first and divides last. Okay? Be careful on a calculator. The median, to find it, you have to arrange the items in order from least to greatest. If there's an odd amount of items, then you're going to find the middle easy. If there's an even amount of items, you're going to come down to 2 in the middle, and to find that, you just average those two together. Okay, so for 1, find the median of these scores. The first thing they did was put them in order from smallest to biggest. All right, and then they mark off the two ends. I'm just working my way to the middle. And in the middle is 62. So the median is 62. There was an odd number of items, so the median was very easy to see. When there's an even amount of items, again, you have to put them in order from smallest to biggest, and then work your way to the middle. If I marked out those two, I would have nothing left. So what you do is, the two that are in the middle, you add them up and divide by 2. Oops. And that gave me 58.5. Okay? The mode is the item that occurs most often. So there's 123, there's 198, 145, 116. There are 3 72s. Only one of those, one of those, one of those. So my mode is 72 because that's the one that occurs most often. You can have no mode. In other words, if every number occurs the same amount of times, we say there's no mode. Or you can have several modes. Like if this data had 2 more 23s in it, there would also be 3 23s, so we would say that this would be bimodal, and the two modes would be 72 and 23. All right, you try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. All right, and it's below is a list of times it took Simon to run 1 mile on 7 different days. So they're telling you the total is 7. Or you could just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items. So you're going to add them all up, and I didn't do the parentheses things. I went ahead and typed it all in and got a total first. So I hit enter and got 49, then divided by the number of items, which is 7, which gave me 7 minutes. Sorry. All right, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got F. It says, in which of the following list of numbers are the mean, median, and mode all equal? Ugh, that means I have to find mean, median, and mode of all those sets of data. So I just started at the top. Okay, so I found the mean. I added them all up and divided by how many there were, which were 9, so I got 5. Next thing I did was the median. So I put them in order from smallest to biggest. And then my median is 5. And then there's 3 5s, so obviously my mode is 5. So I've got a mean of 5, a median of 5, and a mode of 5, and that's what they wanted, the one where all 3 of those were equal. So I found it, and there's not a choice where like it's more than one of them, so I didn't check the rest. Okay, so some practice. Find the mean, median, and mode for each set of numbers. All right, my mean, I add them all up, get 54. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 numbers. Divide by 9 and I get 6. My median, I got to put them in order from smallest to biggest and do the ends. Oops, thought I animated it. So bloop, 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 bloop. My median is 6. My mode is the one that occurs most often, and I have 2 6, so my mode is 6. Okay, my next set of data, I add up these numbers and get 480. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so divide by 6 is 80. My median, I lined them up, smallest to biggest, mark the ends. It's a tie, so I got to add those up and divide by 2, which is 79.5. And my mode, 294. So my mode would be 94. Okay. On this bottom one, I added up all the numbers, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. So divide by 7. My mean is 407. For the median, put them in order from smallest to biggest and take off the ends. No ties, so my median is 458. My mode is, there's 2 467, so my mode is 467. Easy breezy. Alright, so we're doing these, and the only difference here is they're saying we got decimals, so round to the nearest tenth. Alright, for my mean, I add them all up, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them. Divide by 9, I get 5.6 repeating. So round to the nearest tenth. There's the tenths, the 6 is going to bump it up. So my mean is 5.7. My median, put them in order from smallest to biggest. Break off the ends. My mode is 5. Good grief. Sorry, people. Median is 5. My mode is the number that occurs most often. But we have 2 4s, 2 5s, and 2 9s. This would be trimodal. My mode is 4, 5, and 9. Okay, on 11 over here, I'm going to add them all up. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. Divide by 7. So my mean is 4.4. To the nearest tenth, the 1 won't do anything. My median, I got to put them in order and break off the ends. My median is 4.9. And my mode, nobody occurs more than anything else, so I say there is no mode. Okay, 12, add them up, and divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I get 421.5. So there's my mean, 421.5. My median, I got to line them up in order, peel the edges. It's a tie, so I add those up and divide by 2, which gives me 475. And my mode is the one that occurs most often, which is also 475. 13 is a long one, so I added all those up very carefully, got 361.2. There's 12 numbers there, so divide by 12. My mean is 30.1. My median, line them up, bloop, 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 bloop. It's a tie, so I add those up and I divide by 2, which is approximately 31.3. So there's my median. And my mode is what occurs most often. And I got 2 37s. So my mode would be 37. Okay? All right, then they're going to get a little tricky on you. Okay, it says the mean of a list is 25.6 and there are 12 items. What is the sum of the items? Well, they're giving you a mean. The formula for mean says the sum divided by the number is the means. So if I plug my numbers in, it said, what is the sum? I don't know, but I know that there were 12 items, and I know that they got 25.6. So to solve for x, I get rid of dividing by 12 if I multiply by 12, and that gives me 307.2. 15. The sum of the items in a set is 761.8, and the mean is 58.6. Figure out how many items. So kind of similar, same concept. We're talking about mean. That's the formula for mean. They gave me the sum. They said the sum was 761.8, and they told me what the mean is. That's 58.6. What they want to know is how many items were there. To solve this one, I've got to get rid of x on the bottom, so I'm going to multiply both sides by x, and that gives me 761.8 equals 58.6x. Now that x isn't in the denominator anymore, I can get rid of the 58.6 if I divide by 58.6, and I get 13. So there must have been 13 items. 16. In one county, 6 farms have an average crop of 47 bushels of corn per acre. Another 9 farms have an average crop of 49 bushels of corn per acre. What is the average number of bushels of corn per acre for these farms? Now, a lot of people just think that they need to add these two up and divide by 2 to get the average of the two. No, you're taking an average of the average. So what you have to do is you have to get the total of the what the heck did I do? Oh, I just kind of did it a long way. I'm sorry. I'm looking at my paper to make sure that I was following my train of thought. And the way I did it on my paper is a lot longer than it needs to be, but here we go. Okay, so if I do the first farm, okay, they gave me the sum, or they gave me the total of 6 farms, and they gave me the average was 47, so I needed to get the sum. So to do that, to get x alone, I would do times 6 times 6, and x would equal 47 times 6, which is 282. So the total for the first farm is 282. For the second farm, again, total number of farms was 9. The average was 49. So to figure out what the sum was, I'm going to multiply both sides by 9, and this x would give me 441. So now I have the total for the 6 farms and the total for the 9 farms. So to get the average of that, now you're going to add those two up and divide by, not 2, because now we're talking a total of 15 farms. So I divide by 15, and I get 48.2. 17, in a group of 15 students, 6 students are 61 inches tall, 5 students are 60 inches tall, and the remaining students are 59 inches tall. What is the average height of these students? Well, again, you've got to add up all of the heights and then divide by the total number of students. Well, you have 6 students that are 61 inches tall, so that's 366 students. You have 5 students that are 60 inches tall, that's 300. And you have the remaining students, well, if there's 6 here, 5 here, that's 11, that leaves 4 that are 59 inches. So now, to find the average of all 15, I'm going to add up those 3 to get a total of the 15, divide that by 15, and you get an average height of 60.13. 18, it says, on a recent quiz, 3 students received 100, 4 students received 90, 6 students received 80, 5 students received 70, and 2 students received 60. What was the average of all the grades in the class? Well, kind of like the last one. They said 3 kids got 100, so that's a total of 300 points. 4 kids got a 90, that's another 360 points. 6 students got an 80, that's another 480. 5 students got a 70, that's another 350. And 2 students got a 60, that's another 120. So if I add all those up, I get 1610. And then I have to divide by the total number of students. You don't go I added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, so I divide by 5. No, you got to get the total number of students. There was 3 here, 4 here is 7, 6 more is 13, 5 more is 18, 2 more is 20. And so I just wrote it out instead of adding it up in my head. And so the average of all of them would be 80.5%. 19, Tim drove an average of 27.8 miles a day for 7 days. How many miles did he drive in that week? Well, if he drove an average of this for 7 days, multiply by 7, you get 194.6. 20, from Monday to Friday, Brenda spends an average of 1.5 hours a day on the phone with her customers. On Saturday and Sunday, Brenda spends an average of 1 hour on the phone. What is the average amount of time that Brenda spends on the phone each day for the whole week, rounded to the nearest hundred? Well, what you're going to do is from Monday to Friday, so that's 5 days, she spends an hour and a half. On the weekends, that's 2 days, she spends an average of an hour. So that's a total of 9.5 hours. For the week, divide that by 7, and you get 1.3, to the nearest hundredth, tenth hundredths, it'd be 1.36 hours. All right, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. Hopefully you got 13. The sum, now this is tricky. They're not just asking you for the mean, median, and mode. They're asking you for the sum of the mean, median, and mode. So my mean is 5. My median is the tie, but 4 plus 4 divided by 2 is 4. And the mode is 4. So 5 plus 4 plus 4 is 13. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got 5. Below is a list of 5 people and the number of glasses of milk they drink each day. What is the average number of glasses that these people drink each day rounded to the ones place? So I add them all up. I divide by 5. I get 4.8, but it wants to the nearest ones. That's here. So the 8 is going to bump that up to a 5. Try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got 5. Evan scored a total of 93 points with an average of 18.6 per game. How many games did Evan play? Well, if he scored a total of 93 points, right, and his average was 18.6, your thing is the sum divided by the total equals the average. So his total points was 93. His average was 18.6 per game. How many games? So the total number of games would be on the bottom. That's your x. So to get x alone, I'm going to multiply both sides by x. I get 93 equals 18.6x. So I divide by 18.6. And I get 5. Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got H. It says the average weight of 4 men is 172 pounds. So to get that total weight, you got to take the 4 times the 172. The average weight of 6 women is 134, so that total would be 6 times the 134, which gives me 1492. To average those 10 people, divide by 10 and you get 149.2. Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got 904. It says Ed was able to do an average of 56.5 push-ups during 16 different attempts. What is the total number of push-ups that I completed? Well, again, if you take the sum over the total equals the average, he said the average is 56.5. He made 16 attempts. What is the total number that he did? Okay, so to get this x alone, I'm going to multiply by 16, and I get 904. And we are done with mean, median, and mode. I will see you next time.